Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. And I am your host, Ayanna Smith. Listen, listen in really quickly. This is the time to get all your notebooks, notepads, pencils, pens, whatever you need to write down. Gather a friend, gather a colleague, because we have a phenomenal guest with us this evening in our virtual green room who is going to share some awesome info for this time of year. I mean, any time of year is going to be great, but she's going to be talking about just that balancing act with life, personal, money, business, all that. Anything ring a bell? I think it will. So just stay tuned for just a second and we will be right back. Well, we are back for another great episode of Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. And of course, I am your host, Ayanna Smith. I am a financial professional. I help people in the avenue of life insurance, but I also look at drilling down and helping in that estate planning, being a component in your team for your estate planning and also your business succession plans. So we want to make sure that we are handling all of that. But as business owners, as personal people, we need to make sure that everything is in order and that we are getting things set out and trying to balance them. And as I said, given it at the top of the show, who wants to learn how to balance and hear about how to balance all of those things, whether you are in business, personal, your money, your life, your home, your kids, whomever you have, we have a phenomenal guest, Miss LaTasha Bellamy, who is, I mean, a woman of many hats. She is a professor. She is a professional banker. She's a tax person. She does printing. I mean, she can tell you how to balance it. So without further ado, I just wanted to make sure that you were revved up and ready to go as we bring Miss LaTasha onto the stage and the set of Money Talks. Hello, hello, LaTasha.
Hi,
How are you? How are you today?
I am amazing. I'm amazing today.
Awesome, awesome. So
How are
glad
you
you were
today?
able to take some time to come and stop by Money Talks and give us your, let's say, your wonderful expertise on so many things that you do. So just kind of give us a little bit of backdrop about who you are and what what you've been doing for, like we always say, for a few decades. We all been here a few decades. So what have you been doing since showing up?
All
Okay.
right. Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Miss Ayanna. It's a blessing to be here. I like a lot of people have many interests. So it just so happens that most of mine surround finances. So I've been a banker in the banking industry for two of the largest banks for over a decade. I've navigated through those waters. I started off at a trucking company working with a CPA when I was 14. So I think I was kind of destined to be in finances. I was
Mhm.
kind of running payroll for about three companies at the age of 15 or 16. So I had a lot of responsibility very early dealing with finances. And I just kind of stuck on that path as far as my education. And I took bite-sized pieces. I didn't go all at once and get a master's degree. I started with the associates in accounting and then did the bachelor's and did the master's, and I'm working on my doctorate now. Um, Now I've transitioned from retail, because banking is retail. Accounting is you're mostly by yourself. It's you and the computer and your reports. Now I get to actually teach that in higher ed. So I kind of did it backwards. I didn't go to school to be a professor, but now that I have the knowledge, I get to share it, and that's a blessing.
Absolutely. But you know what? Sometimes what we look at as we've been sold the traditional role or route, it's like not necessarily the traditional, it's what we've been told systematically. I would say that. But what you did was you learned it first, and then you went to school by not school of hard knocks, but with life experiences. We said you had that life experience that taught you from an early age. I mean, really, that was an early age to have that responsibility. I didn't know that part. Now that was intriguing to hear that you always had that knack. And evidently it was a gift to you, because that's early to get thrown into that and just maneuver, and people trust you because you were handling big things. You're talking about people's checks, and they want those checks when it was time for the checks to show up, and you handled that. And now here you are teaching. You can teach it from the practical side. I think that's the larger thing. You can teach it from the practical side, and it's much more effective, because if I think just learning, and my background is education, and just learning from that theoretical side is a lot different than when you have hands on. You just did it like you didn't do it with the schooling part. Now you're doing it with the schooling part and teaching others how to do it. So you're like in two worlds, and that is awesome with all of that experience. So they have a great professor in front of them who has had a lifelong experience. Basically, over half of your life has been dedicated to finance. So what better person? I mean, really. And yeah, I'm just excited about that. And you said you've dealt with finance most of your life, but then you have coined your term on who you are in finance, right? Let's hear about that.
Yes. So I am a sister coin saver. So I'm all things finance because I have dealt with many different arenas. My perception may be different, and I take that and I share it with others because I am a business owner. I know the woes of business. I know it from not only personal experience. I've counseled many thousands of business owners being a business banker. So I know their struggles because I've been right there in the trenches with them in the finance arena. I know what it looks like to navigate a multi-million dollar business from a finance standpoint because that was my first experience when I was working at the trucking company. That was a multi-million dollar business. Um, and they did have heavy assets that a lot of small businesses don't see. I've been in a nonprofit world. I'm currently the CFO at a local organization. Um, and so I get to see different, I guess, variances is what you call it, different stages of businesses. And then I get to teach about it. I get to share. I still do consulting sometimes. I get to navigate with the business owner from a practical standpoint and share it with my students because that's fun. They're amazed at some of the things they can do.
Wow. And I'm amazed just by hearing the little bits that we have shared and talked about. And it is fascinating because you come from, like I say, oftentimes many people don't get the vantage point of, there are two different views. If you can just go with me, you're looking from the ground up to the balcony, and looking from the balcony down to the ground. Those are two different views, and when you can catch both of them and the things in between, that really gives what we say a full 360 view, the bird's eye view, and on the boots on the ground view. You're not just in the ivory tower being the banker saying, well, we could do this, this, and this, and you not have felt it yourself because you are a business owner. So I guess we're talking about that work-life balance. How have you balanced being the business owner and working the 9 to 5? Because there's still people, we're still out here working and doing multiple things, even if we're not in a W-2 situation. Most people are still trying to get their multiple streams. Therefore, they are streaming multiple in multiple ways. And they, because I know that I'm a singer as well. People know that I'm an author, but you know me for finance, yes. But then you still have those what would we say, the you see the tip of the iceberg, but there's still other things under the iceberg. So how have you handled managing, being the business owner, as well as, just talk about how you've handled both, and the budgets and the money that it took and the money that it takes, and so people can get a mindset on how to maneuver and bridge the gap where maybe the business is not doing as much as it needs to do, and you're still trying to handle home and your business, because they do have two budgets to run themselves.
Absolutely. And I'll share my experience. So I've been in business since 2016. That is how long my actual tax and accounting firm has been in operation. Um, and it was in 2023 when I took the leap to go full time. Now, TikTok University and YouTube and social media will have you thinking that you're ready as soon as you open your business. But there's a reality to that. And the reality that I found is when you work for yourself and you have to carry the load of your business expenses and your personal expenses, it's heavy. And I put business expenses first because in order for me to make money during that time, to handle my personal expenses, I had to make sure my business was still running. And it's not as easy as it seems, because when you are in business, there's only so much that a bank will lend you if you're not making money yet. They want to see 2 years of profit. And what a lot of business owners do is, because when you are an individual, when you're looking from a consumer standpoint and you're looking at your taxes, you want to get back as much as possible, which, it makes sense. But when you are a business owner and you show a loss in your business and you want to go to the bank and get money, they don't want to give it to you because you can't pay it back because you're losing in business. You don't have profit. You're not showing revenue. So that was a barrier. And then I'm new, right? I'm a new full-time entrepreneur. Guess what I learned? I'm not very disciplined with time. And time is literally money when you work for yourself. That means you have to get up early. Nobody's telling you to get up. You have to do that on your own. You got to follow up with people. I learned that I don't like following up. I would rather ignore people than follow up. But that was something that I had to overcome in order to make money. You've got to find the information. You got to find your customers. You got to get new customers. You got to know what software you need. There's so much research that can be done, and it's only 24 hours in a day. So before you take that leap, make sure you vet it. And although I did well, it was so stressful. I was like, you know what? I think doing a 9 to 5 and working my business is better, because my 9 to 5 gives me money to run my household, and I can focus on growing and establishing my business to a point where when the paycheck comes in, I believe when you make at least 3 times the money that you make on your job, maybe then you're ready. And it needs to be consistent. It doesn't need to be once out of the year, or you're doing it for 6 months. Bank that money that you're making extra, because it seems sweet today, but every business goes through cash flow cycles. So you'll have your ups and you'll have your downs. And you've got to be able to navigate that. And let's not even talk about your mental state going through all of this. Because when your business is up and down in finances, your mind sometimes can be up and down because
Yeah.
you still have responsibilities to handle. So I had to navigate that. I had to learn to sit with myself and be honest with myself about what my strengths were and what my weaknesses were and how to overcome them. Um, in a way that didn't cause me mental anxiety too much, because it can take you out like if you're not careful, like. And that's just speaking from experience. You've got to, how the old people say, be a base and a bound. You've got to learn how
Right.
to be a base and a bound no matter where you find yourself in your business, and know that just because you're down today doesn't mean that you won't be up tomorrow. You
Right.
just got to show up so that that increase can happen and do the things that you know are income producing. Because we get the busy work and business done. I mean, we love that. But when it's income producing, there is a difference. So you have to focus on those revenue based activities and keep doing them over and over again.
I like that you said the revenue based activities. That's a takeaway. Write that down. We have to do revenue based activities because we can, when we're trying to promote our businesses, do the marketing and different things of that nature. But it's like we have to be able to do the revenue based activities to make that money back, that will take care of the marketing, make that money back, that will keep our lights on. If we have home based business, that's wonderful, or you can work from your home, fine. But if you have a space, a commercial property that you're paying, or an office space that you're renting, then that's dualistic because you're taking care of mortgages and rent and double rent and all that in those places and spaces. And yeah, you basically have two full budget sheets for home and business, and then for the accidentals. And then when you do full-time entrepreneurship, then you have to take care of your own health care and different things like that. And please don't forget over here with the life insurance, and because you need that personal entrepreneur or W-2, you still need that. Then you need the disability things that go along with it, because if you are the only, you're the solopreneur, then every single thing that you saw on that W-2 statement that they took out, it's like now it's on the full-time entrepreneur to handle that, hold that. And we pray for good health. We're not looking to get sick, but we know that, one day of getting a cold can, if you don't have you don't have sick days when you're an entrepreneur. You are it, unless you have gotten to the point where you've gotten over that hump and you've handled and can hire someone to kind of handle those admin things. But we're really it all the way around. And as you said, something else, the mental state is something that we have to monitor no matter what state we're in, W-2 or 1099 or just all straight, on our own. It doesn't matter. We still have to have the mindset and our mind in a good space, because if it's not in a good space, we don't do busy work or revenue making activities. We don't do anything but lie down and go to sleep. And then that's most definitely not going to get produced, not going to produce what we want. So with all of that, wow, you just said so much. What are some ways that you balanced to, to pull it out? How is it working for you, and what are you doing? Because everybody's situation is different, but you had to do certain things to make it work for you and your family.
For me, I found that I can only remember so much. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, or when your mind is in overload, you just can't remember everything.
Mhm,
So Google
mhm,
Calendar is my best friend.
mhm,
Calendly became my best friend for sending out appointments. I also started using Asana, which is like it's like Trello. It's like a project management. I can
mhm,
assign different tasks to my team or to myself to keep up with the things that I do. Because not only do I have my tax and accounting firm, I have a print shop. So I do
mhm,
local orders. I also ship too. But when you get orders coming in, those orders come in fast. And they love to come in when you got everything to do. When you don't have nothing to do, like the orders are not there. But when you have a million other things to do, it's like everybody wants branding for their company. So,
mhm,
and then, I'm in a stage where I am building my companies. So I don't turn orders away unless it's something that I just absolutely don't do. And I'm
mhm,
honest about that. I used to want to take everything on. Now, if it is something that I don't have the capacity to do, I say no. I was not always that way. I had to kind of get to that space. Boundaries. My friends may have capacity to go out and hang out. That's not my life right now. And it wasn't my life when I was full time, because I had to prioritize. If most of my appointments were during the day and in the afternoon, at night I need to get rest so that I can focus on my can get up the next day and be productive. And planning, write your goals down. There is something about writing down the things that you want to do um, that makes it happen. A lot of people say manifest, I say faith. There is, when I was in a phase or when I was working for myself 100%, that is when the most um, assets, I'll say, because I'm an accounting instructor and I'm an accountant, but that's when the most assets came into my business,
Mm-hmm.
right? I began to acquire a lot of the technology. I won the Comcast Rise grant, which gave me a desktop, two laptops, and three iPads. Didn't know what I was going to need it for. But when I went full time, I began to see I needed that technology. I didn't have to worry about paying my internet bill for my business because I have a commercial space. So all of those are bills that had to be paid. And I would have had to purchase that equipment, but I didn't have to. It freed up time and money for me to go and get the equipment that I wanted for my printing business. So I think I acquired something about like $30,000 worth of equipment in about 2 or 3 months, which was crazy. And then on my I call it my lay time, when I was in that space of being a full-time solopreneur, I won an iPad, not an iPad, I won a MacBook. So my story has just been absolutely, I went to a conference and I didn't want to get on live. I won a tripod at that conference. Like when you take the steps to do the things that will work for you, I believe God will meet you there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always for forever. Like for me, it was for that 6, 7 month period to grow my business, because then I got an opportunity to teach. And I wanted to do that all my life
Wow.
because I laid the groundwork for my businesses when I wasn't seeing clients, when I didn't see growth, because all I was doing was going to conferences. I was meeting people. I was getting all of this equipment. I'm like, where are the customers? Now they're here.
And you
And
have that.
so I'm able to reap those benefits now.
Yes.
So your business is a growth process. So if you're not seeing money yet, just keep doing the work. If that's what you desire. If you, because sometimes you get into the business and figure out that it's not for you, and that's okay. Some people are okay with being employees. Don't let people talk you into doing things that's not your path. Sometimes it's not. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. You've got to build resilience, tenacity. You've got to have stick to itiveness. You've got to stick and stay until you get paid. That's what we used to say back in the day. So don't
Yes.
give up if that's your calling.
Absolutely. That was a such good nuggets because as you were talking, I'm thinking, basically you sow the seeds. It's like, and when we put seeds in the ground, they don't come up immediately. I mean, if we put a seed in the ground and it popped right back up, we would think, uh-oh, something is wrong with this in a traditional sense when we're looking at it in the aspects of food. And but when it comes to money and like you said materials and things you want, the grants you want, the MacBooks, I mean that stuff right there was phenomenal because we know how costly those things can be. And if you were building, you didn't have the money to just maybe go out and buy those things, and you won top notch things. So it was just you, like you said, working and networking. And that's what I hear people say, you have to get out and you have to get in the way so people can see you. You can't be a hermit. You have to get out there and talk to people and network. And it's not networking the whole room. It's getting 2 or 3 people that you are talking to and intentional about building a relationship with. If the conversation flows, and and along the way you'll find out about grants and other things, and people hear what you're doing, and it's building those relationships. So we have to put ourselves in the way so that people can see us, and then you stick in there, and we say stick and stay until those seeds come up. And that's that money tree that we want to pop up from the ground. We want to pop up, and evidently that is what I like your transparency. You said there was a point nothing was there, but now it came up. You worked those months, as a solopreneur, but then now you're doing that and able to you added on another arm, I would say, of your business because you're able to fulfill a dream to be a teacher. So you got all that knowledge, and now you're able to give the kids or adults, younger adults or older non-traditional adults, a hands-on practical way of I did it, so I know it can work. And then the accounting, people think that finance and accounting are the same. They're not the same. You're being accountable to what. So it's how I want you to explain it. I want you to explain it. You'll be the best person because you do it. But I don't. So I don't want to give my what you say my novice answer. So you give the professional answer. The difference between being an accountant and being in that financial space and how they are not the same, but they work together.
They are they're cousins.
Yes, they
So
work together when they're not the same.
when I give analogies to my students, I'll say, so these are sisters because they're so closely related. But finance, being a financial consultant or being in the finance arena is different from the accounting arena. When I was a banker, bankers don't have to have accounting degrees because banking doesn't really have anything to do with accounting. As a matter of fact, debits and credits in the banking world mean almost the opposite in the accounting world. So, so you've got to be like in banking to debit your account means to take money out. In the accounting world, to debit, that means that your cash has increased.
Mm,
So you've got to be able to differentiate. Being a banker is managing your money that you have in your account. Being an accountant means we have to account for the money that is coming in and going out right now and what is to come, and kind of forecasting those things. So it's a different standpoint. Your accountants are behind the scenes. They're the ones that are making sure that everything is accounted for. So if that company gets audited by the IRS or an external auditor or even an internal auditor, you can say where the money went, where it came from, why you have it, and what you did with it. And if
mm,
like I just acquired $30,000 worth of assets, I have to say where I got them from, how
mhm,
long they will live, or what the life of those assets are. Like I just got a new printer. The printer itself is worth about $10,000. That printer is not meant to live forever. It will age out after a certain time. So that there's a depreciation factor to that. So
mm.
accountants know all of that. When you can't go to your banker and ask them about depreciation because the only thing they may be able to say is, a vehicle depreciates. The home may have a depreciation or a loss in value, but you've got to realize who you're talking to, because your banker can't be your accountant.
Mhm.
There are not many bankers like me who went to school for accounting. I think I was actually the only one in my region with a bachelor's or a master's degree in accounting. So
Wow.
they know banking. They know how to get you loans and credit cards. They know how to tell you how not to overdraw your account. They know how to tell you what a good relationship looks like with your bank and why it's important because it's leverage for getting the money that you want. They know how to advise on those things. When you have your financial consultants that understand insurance or investment vehicles, they don't even look at the accounting side of things because
Right.
they're going to tell you how to protect yourself and the assets of your business, but they're not going to tell you how to account for that on the accounting side.
Right. Right. And
They
that's
won't
and
tell you that increases the equity of your business. An accountant will tell you that insurance will.
right. And and like I said, I almost know enough to be dangerous. meaning meaning that I do know when it comes to insurance, and I explain this to people. I said having insurance is an asset. It is moreover an asset when it is a a policy that will build money. So when it is a whole life or universal life or index universal life, a vehicle that will not only protect your life and pay out to to a beneficiary once you pass, but it is something that you are able to glean, especially if you set it up and position it where it is covering the cover you know how much your business is worth, and then you can get a policy that is going to cover that in the respect of if you pass away, like key man policy. That's an asset because it's building money while it's still covering your life. That's an asset. I even know, and just to put this out, I remember one time I knew some people who were looking, they were looking for an apartment to lease, and the evidently the apartment complex had gone through where they had gotten some grants to upgrade the apartments or what have you. So they had a different application, and they required a little more money. The accountability piece, I think, probably coming in to say, well, who are you bringing in? How much are they making? All that. And they even had they said on the application to list the assets that they had, or they wanted to know, did they have life insurance? And then they said, well, yeah, we have life insurance. Of course we do. Well, make sure it's only term. I said, uh-huh. They were like, why do they only want us to have term insurance? I said, because term insurance does not increase in any value because it doesn't make any money, because it's only set up for maybe 5 to maybe 40 years. That doesn't count for, that's just covering your life. You may have the living benefits in there, which is excellent because we still need living benefits if we got sick and all that. Shameless plug, we need that, especially if we're business owners, because we may not have, and we need it if we're not business owners. I have to insert this. This is a good conversation because some health care insurances do not pay. It does not pay for certain medications and certain things if we get in sometimes certain cancers, or we get some other chronic and critical illnesses. Our health insurance doesn't pay for it, or the deductibles and copays are so expensive until we still don't have that money just lingering around. So that's where the living benefits will kick in and be able to pay for that for us. So that's why I always say, still we have to look at that. But going back to that asset builder, yeah, the life insurance that is not does not make money. It's not considered an asset, but the one that does is considered an asset, and people look at that because they said, if on that application for that apartment I was talking about, they said if you have an account that makes money, don't list it because it'll make it look like you make too much money. I said, wow, that is something. So that goes to your side of, if you have those right insurances, they are an asset to the business, because if you get survivorship policies, key man policies, then the business can continue even if you got sick or passed away, or if your partner that's in business with you passed away, that money can still transfer and come into the business to keep the business going. So that's a win-win. So how do you position people and talk to them through that side?
Oh yeah, I mean, and even you've got to have personal insurance, but you've got to have business liability insurance.
Mhm.
Because I am an accountant, I have an insurance called errors and omissions. I'm human.
Yes.
So if I make an error or omit something when I'm doing a contract or I'm doing someone's taxes, that covers me. I sat on the board of an organization. I had my own director's insurance because should I leave that board and there is a liability there, I need to cover myself. The organization has directors and officers insurance, but I have my own because I've
Mhm.
seen organizations sue people, and you can sue me, but the insurance will cover it. Like,
Right.
I'm that person because I've seen it. When I got the increase in assets, I immediately called my business insurance because I had to increase the amount of insurance that I had on my
Mhm.
equipment because I just increased the amount of equipment. So you gotta plan for those things. Write those things down because you think that you can get by, and then something crazy happens and everything that you've built crumbles. So insurance is important for yourself and for your business.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to account for that. If you work for yourself, keep in mind that you need to put money away for retirement, because I'm sure you want to retire one day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't realize businesses, for other cultures are built to be sold. We don't always operate our businesses like that. But when you operate from a standpoint that your business is an asset that you can one day sell for financial freedom, you will operate it at a different level.
Yeah, totally different. It's a totally different. We always basically kind of, I would say, and that, like I said, culturally, we're excited to work for ourselves, but we basically work in another job only, and don't think about the depth of all of the things that go along with it. Which again is sobering if you were to take the time, if you're a W-2 employee, look at that column of what they take out and what they support. Meaning, what does your company support that you don't have to pay fully at this time, and then look at how much you would really have to pay and what your check would look like if it was not supported, if part of those benefits were not supported by your job. And then, as you said too, then we need to think in a basically become a corporation. As an entrepreneur, think I am a corporation to build and to sell it or to franchise it or whatever, to basically make it more than just me, because then we're working and making the money, and we're not thinking about later on we're not going to want to or physically can work the same way we're working now, and the retirement piece is missing. And that is, I had that conversation with a friend not too long ago, and I know that sometimes people that are in the like the mobile, just say they do mobile car detailing, or they're hairstylists or whatever, something like that, they make that money. And even in with me as an independent contractor with insurance, make the money. But if you don't think about splitting part of it up and putting it in thirds and saying I need to put this over here for my tax account that I may have to pay for my quarterly taxes, putting aside what I'm going to live on, put aside what I'm going to put into investments, and if it's an IRA or if it's getting a life insurance policy that's going to build, I'm going to concert to put in more than what I would normally pay to build up aggressively for myself. We think about the age that a lot of times we start a little later. Therefore, it is we don't have as large a window of time to the reality sets in more years behind than we have in front. And if we worked already 20 some 30 some years on a regular job, we may not want to push or may not have 20 30 years in front of us to go with the pace that we've gone all these years. So therefore, it's like we have to do massive catch up, and we're thinking about, I just got to make enough money to keep all my bills going, and not concurrently thinking again, I have to think about, well, what if I don't want to work anymore? And then did I set it up to transfer it? Wow, we could probably talk for like 5 to 10 hours because
Yeah, because I mean, plan Bs are important in our economy. I started my business because I got laid off of the first job that I worked at, the
Mhm,
trucking company with the CPA. I was in my early 20s.
mhm.
And I had a very good job, salary, and got laid off. In the position I found myself in with as a single mother with a young child, I said I don't ever want to be in this position again, because it was a difficult position. So, but for me, the best position that works well with me is working a regular 9 to 5 and building my business. It keeps me out of trouble. I know y'all like to be outside, but I need to be inside building something that is a legacy for my daughter, and my nieces and nephews, because I'm that auntie. They think I'm the rich auntie. So, I'm the one that they come to. Not only them, my sisters, my brothers, my family. They rely on me a lot, and a lot of us are in that position. And building a business gives them insight to see that they can do other things too. So don't just do it for the money, because if you do it for the money, you're not going to do it for the right reasons. And the
Mm-hmm.
way you operate your business is going to be shady and shifty. But if you do it because that is what you love to do, and you enjoy whatever that lane of business is, you're going to do it well, and you're going to be afforded opportunities that keep you in your lane. I believe that's why I've been so blessed so quickly, because I stay in my lane. I let the people do what they're to do in their lane, and I stay in my lane. My lane just happens to be all things finance. So it seems like I'm doing a lot, but everything that I do ties into business and finance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I kind of stay in that lane.
And that sounds so interconnected. Well, we'll have to have you back because I tell you, it's like we have a 10-part series here. So we but not to belabor our time any further, but I want to, with all the things you said, I hope everybody has listened and will go back and watch the replay and catch some of these nuggets. And if you have more questions about something that was said during the broadcast, tell the people how they can connect with you, LaTasha.
So you can find me on sistercoinsaver. That's .com. That's SISTAH Coinsaver, COINSAVER.com. I'm on LinkedIn under LaTasha Bellamy. I'm always on LinkedIn because that's where I spend most of my time now. I am on Instagram under LaTasha Bellamy or Tasha Bellamy, one of them. And I'm on Facebook too. I have two different companies, planandfile.com, and then there is Brand Marketing Prints. That's my print shop. So I have a couple different ways that you can reach me.
Awesome. And also, the information will be in the notes. So you make sure that you connect with her and you see the your bio, and reach out because there's a lot of depth to what has been shared on this broadcast. Is just I have questions and just looking at how you need to delineate different things and get better because we're always in progress, I would say, so we can get better. So thank you so very much, LaTasha, for coming on. You are just amazing, and we will have to have you back sooner than later. So until the next time, any parting words? One last final word for the audience.
I'm just so grateful. We're in tax season, you guys. Get your paperwork together so that you don't drive your tax preparers crazy. That's my that's my final word.
Well, with that being said, my tax preparer will probably concur with you and say, please have have something in order, please. No shoe boxes, please. No shoe boxes, right? Okay.
Or
See, like I
Ziploc
said, that
bags with the name written on it.
yes. Okay. We won't go any further. That would be that would be too revealing here in the some people say ouch, just ouch or amen. Like that's what was my coach will say, Charvette, ouch or amen. If it's you, yes. If it's not, okay. But just we will do better. And so from this broadcast, I am excited that you were able to share some nuggets. Thank you so much for stopping by Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. I am absolutely enamored, and I enjoy what you do, and many blessings on you and your businesses, plural. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I receive it, and likewise.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, you have just witnessed a wonderful show with our guests. Please make sure that you like, comment, and share. And share this out with some friends who may need some services and all of that. Again, my name is Ayanna Smith, and it's Money Talks with Ayanna Smith. And I help people make and save money and help you to get yourself protected and covered. But most of all, remember this: stay in touch with me through askayanna.com for a complimentary consultation to talk about some of your life insurance strategies that you need for personal and business. And remember that money is always talking, even if we aren't talking about it. So have a great one, and we will see you soon.